So here we go. This is my first Reddit post, and it already feels like I'm the main character in a Netflix original that didn't need to happen. I, 36M, have been married to my wife, Tanya, 34F, for 8 years. We have no kids, 2 dogs, and a joint bank account, which honestly should be enough of a cautionary tale right there. Tanya is, well, she's a lot. Always the center of attention, the one with the loud laugh at dinner parties, the dramatic hand gestures, the I'll just pop in for one drink and show up 4 hours later with smeared lipstick and a new story about how she ran into so from high school who now runs a goat yoga studio. That type. I used to love that about her. I used to think it meant she was passionate and alive and fiery. But lately, it just feels exhausting and weirdly disconnected. Like I've been downgraded from partner to background extra in the movie of her life. The first real sign that something was off came about 2 months ago when Tanya came home from her weekly book club. Yes, book club, which I now suspect is just code for white wine and gossip, and casually mentioned that Matthew McConaughey had liked one of her Instagram posts. I laughed, thought it was funny. She showed me the post, just a sunset selfie, nothing risque, and sure enough, there was a verified account under the name Matthew McConaughey with the little blue check mark. I was skeptical, so I looked it up. The real McConaughey doesn't follow her, didn't post anything resembling what she described, and his official page was managed by his PR team. I brought this up, and she got defensive, said I was being insecure and controlling. And why can't I just be happy for her for once? I dropped it. Maybe it was a weird fluke or a fan page or something. But that was just the beginning. She started dropping his name everywhere. Like, constantly. Oh, Matthew said this in his book, Green Lights, you wouldn't understand. Matthew really gets the spiritual journey I'm on. I think Matthew would really like this song. It's got that soul-searching energy, you know? At first, I thought she was just having a celebrity crush moment, which, fine. We've all had one. Mine was Anna Kendrick until she started dating that creepy dude from Barry. But Tanya's fixation went from fangirl to, I don't even know what to call it. Obsessive? Cult-like? Straight up unhinged? And then she started hiding her phone. Password changed. Notifications silenced. She even started taking it into the bathroom with her, which she never used to do. I asked her about it once, half joking, and she snapped. Not everything is about you, Dave. Yeah, my name's Dave. Not exactly McConaughey level charm. I get it. So here I am, sitting in our shared home office, typing this out because I feel like I'm slowly unraveling. Like the woman I married is either cheating on me with a fake celebrity catfish or she's having a full-on delusional breakdown, and I can't tell which one scares me more. I haven't confronted her yet, not fully. I'm still trying to piece it all together. But something's going on. Something big. And the worst part? I think she's lying straight to my face. More to come. I've got receipts. And it gets way weirder. Okay, buckle up, Reddit. Because I went from suspicious husband to full-blown detective mode in less than 48 hours. And what I found? I wish I was making it up. So, after that whole Instagram Matthew McConaughey liked my photo thing, I started noticing more and more weird behavior. Tanya's screen time suddenly tripled. She started sleeping with her phone under her pillow and made this big dramatic show of how she needed space and time to connect with her higher self. That was her new thing, spiritual alignment. Usually after 3 glasses of Pinot. One night, she left for her so-called book club again. She had this flowy green scarf on, like she was auditioning for a desert cult. I watched her drive off, waited 10 minutes, then walked back inside, and, this is embarrassing, I searched the house. I didn't even know what I was looking for. I just had this buzzing in my brain, this gut-level something's not right feeling. And then I found it. In her bottom drawer, underneath a pile of those Target clearance lace thongs she never wears anymore, was a burner phone. Like, an actual black, off-brand Android with one of those $30 Walmart prepaid stickers on the back. I felt sick. Like physically nauseous. I turned it on, no password. Jackpot. The messages started coming up, and it was like walking into a parallel universe. She had an entire text thread going with someone saved as Herb. Not Matthew McConaughey. I mean, probably not. But she was treating it like it was him. Here are some actual messages I read, and I swear on everything I love. Herb. You still glowing from last night, darling? That moonlight hit you just right. Tanya. I can still smell you on my skin. You're dangerous, Matthew. Herb. Ain't nothing wrong with a little danger, baby girl. Life's short. I just sat there holding the phone like it was radioactive. Either she was role-playing with a guy pretending to be Matthew McConaughey, or she was role-playing as if she was someone worth role-playing with. Either way, what the hell? Oh, and there were pictures. Nothing X-rated, but definitely in the thirst trap category. Bathtub mirror selfies, her biting her lip in the kitchen, her lying on our bed in my hoodie, looking like a softcore ad for betrayal. And the worst part? The dates. She was sending these texts while I was in the same damn house. Like, I'd be out walking the dogs or watching the game in the living room while she was upstairs sexting dollar store McConaughey. I wanted to scream, or laugh, or throw the phone out the window, but instead, I took photos of the whole thread with my own phone. Every message, every photo, every digital receipt of the life she was living behind my back. Then I put the burner phone right back where I found it. She has no idea I know. Not yet. But this goes way deeper than I thought. And I'm starting to wonder if this guy, or whatever he is someone she's actually met. There's something else I found, too. A receipt. All right. So after discovering the burner phone and getting a front row seat to Tanya's text flirting fantasy with Herb, you'd think that'd be enough. But no. The rabbit hole has layers. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay next to her in bed while she snored like nothing was wrong, and I stared at the ceiling wondering how my marriage turned into some weird McConaughey-themed fever dream. At one point, she even rolled over, kissed my shoulder, and mumbled, "You're my rock." I almost laughed. It was so fake, like something she'd read in a Hallmark script. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I went back to the drawer and checked the burner phone again. New message. Herb. Counting the days, baby. Got the lake house already. Just you, me, and the stars. Time to breathe. Lake house. That's when I noticed the folded receipt tucked inside the phone case. Old school. Printed out and folded in half. Tanya's name at the top. It was a reservation confirmation for an Airbnb in Austin, Texas. 5 nights. Midweek stay. 2 weeks from now. I stared at it. The listing was titled, Secluded Hill Country Hideaway, Private Lake Access and Jacuzzi. I looked it up. Gorgeous place. Romantic as hell. Like a place you'd go for an anniversary or, I don't know, a discreet affair with a fake cowboy. I asked her casually that night if she had any work trips coming up. She said no. I asked if she'd ever been to Austin. She said, "Ugh, Texas? No thanks. Too many trucks." Another lie. But here's where it got wild. I called the Airbnb host the next day. I pretended I was her assistant and said I was just confirming the amenities because Ms. Tanya needs a hypoallergenic pillow due to a condition. The woman laughed and said, "Oh yeah, she booked this for her writing retreat with her mentor, Matthew." I nearly dropped my phone. Writing. Retreat. With Matthew. So either she's completely lost it, or she's actually meeting up with someone she calls Matthew, and has built this elaborate fantasy life around him. Either way, she's planning to fly out, stay in some candlelit lake house, and pretend I don't exist. And if you're wondering whether I confronted her yet, no, not yet. I want to see how deep this goes. Because here's the kicker, Tanya doesn't write. She doesn't even read. She didn't finish the last book club pick because, and I quote, the font was annoying. So who the hell is she going to Austin with? And why the secrecy? I checked our shared credit card. No flight booked, which means she's either driving or paying cash. I'm losing my mind here, Reddit. But I'm not done. I needed to know who Matthew really was. So I reverse searched his number from the burner phone. Guess what I found? So where were we? Oh, right. Me standing in my kitchen at 2 a.m., clutching a burner phone, staring at an Airbnb receipt for a fake writing retreat in Austin with a man my wife calls Matthew, who speaks exclusively in shirtless poetry energy. I decided I had to find out who this guy really was. So I used a reverse phone lookup site, the sketchy kind you feel dirty for even clicking on, punched in the number from the burner phone, and waited. And there it was. A name. A face. A LinkedIn. You ready for this? It was Evan. My cousin. My younger cousin. My used to sleep on our couch when he was broke cousin. The guy I got a job interview for last year. The guy who, when his ex kicked him out, I told Tanya, of course he can crash with us for a few weeks. That Evan. I couldn't breathe for a minute. Like my brain hit a blue screen. This whole time I thought she was being catfished by some sleazy dude pretending to be McConaughey. But no, she was the one pretending. She was role-playing with my own family, giving him the nickname Herb, and building this whole imaginary, spiritual, intellectual, romantic connection around it. I mean, what kind of person takes your cousin, renames him after an Oscar-winning actor, and then has an affair in character? I scrolled through the texts again, looking at it with fresh eyes. It was all theater. Tanya was performing. Evan was in on it. They weren't just having an affair, they were cosplaying a love story. I was so stunned I just stood there, staring at the wall like someone unplugged me. Then I started remembering things. That time Evan joked about always loving a good southern drawl when Tanya put True Detective on. Tanya insisting he stay just a little longer when he was supposed to move out. The two of them laughing over some inside joke when I walked into the kitchen, and they stopped immediately. I chalked it up to awkwardness. I thought maybe they got too close during his stay, and I didn't want to accuse anyone of anything I couldn't prove. Well, now I've got proof. Plenty. And suddenly, the writing retreat made sense. Austin isn't just about pretending, it's their stage. She was going to meet him there, away from the guilt, away from reality, and fully live out this fantasy. I haven't confronted either of them yet, but I'm close. Very close. I just want to see how far they're willing to take it. I want to hear the lies come out of her mouth when she thinks I still don't know. Because something inside me snapped after this. I'm done playing the clueless husband. All right, Reddit. Strap in. This was the night the dam broke. After finding out Tanya was sleeping with my cousin Evan and pretending he was Matthew freaking McConaughey in the process, I knew I had to confront them. But not over text. Not in a screaming match. I wanted them to squirm. I wanted the masks to come off. So I set a trap. I told Tanya earlier in the week that I made dinner reservations for Friday night. Said I wanted us to reconnect, and she smiled like it was an opportunity to earn back some trust, which is hilarious in hindsight. What she didn't know was that I also texted Evan. Hey man, long time. Let's grab dinner. My treat. Just you and me. I picked a small, cozy Italian place with low lighting and tight seating. One of those spots where you have to brush against someone to get to your seat. I told the hostess I'd be a party of 3. Told her not to say anything. I tipped her $50 to keep a straight face when my wife arrived and saw her lover already at the table. The stage was set. Tanya walked in first, wearing a low-cut red top I hadn't seen in over a year. Lipstick, perfume, nails freshly done. She smiled like she thought I was trying to rekindle the flame. Wow, she said, sliding into the booth. This is really nice of you. Yeah, I said, sipping my water. Just thought it'd be good to get everything out in the open. She looked confused, a flicker of panic in her eyes. Then, Evan walked in, and her face drained. I wish I had taken a picture. He froze when he saw her. She froze when she saw him. And I took a bite of bread like I was watching live theater. Evan, I said, you remember Tanya. They both sat down slowly, like scared animals. Tanya tried to laugh. This is awkward. I leaned forward. Calm. Controlled. Dead inside. So who's going to tell the truth first? You. I looked at Evan. Or you. I turned to Tanya. She immediately defaulted to her favorite setting, denial. What truth? Babe, I don't know what this is, but... I cut her off. Cut the performance. You're not at the lake house yet. Her mouth hung open. Evan, to his credit, at least had the decency to look ashamed. He whispered, Man, I didn't mean for it to go this far. I nodded slowly. Didn't mean for what to go this far, Matthew. His eyes widened. She slapped the table. You went through my stuff? After you left a burner phone in our house with softcore cowboy erotica? Yeah, I went through your stuff. Silence. The restaurant hummed with the sounds of forks clinking and quiet murmurs. But at our table, the air turned toxic. Then Tanya did what she always does when she's caught. She pivoted to victim mode. I was lonely. You've been distant. Evan listened to me. He made me feel seen. I laughed. Out loud. People turned to look. You made up a fake identity for my cousin and planned a romantic getaway in Texas, Tanya. That's not loneliness. That's psychosis. Evan mumbled something about needing to go and stood up like a coward. She reached for him. While I sat across the table. I looked at her hand and said, You just made your choice. So don't come home. And I walked out. Didn't even pay for the food. Let Evan pick up the check. It's the least he could do. So after the disaster dinner where Tanya reached across the table for Evan, after I told her not to come home, I went back to the house expecting peace. Or at least silence. I was wrong. Not even 2 hours later, Headlights lit up the driveway. I watched through the blinds as Tanya got out of Evan's car, still in that red top, still playing the victim. She stormed up to the front door like she had been wronged. Knock, knock. I didn't answer. Knock, knock, knock. Then the text messages started rolling in. Please, let me explain. He meant nothing. It was just a fantasy. I love you, not him. Are you really going to throw away everything over some texting and a joke Airbnb? A joke Airbnb? Oh, now it was just a prank. Just a light-hearted roleplay with my cousin that involved real hotel reservations and real plane tickets and real lingerie I later found stuffed in a tote bag in the back of her car. I let her knock and cry and yell. She stayed out there for a full 30 minutes. Eventually, I heard her yell through the door, "You're being dramatic. At least talk to me like an adult." I stayed on the couch, sipping a whiskey, staring at the burner phone like it was some cursed object. Because in a way it was. She eventually left. I guess Evan came back to pick her up. They probably went somewhere to rewrite the narrative. He's being cold. He never listened. He shut me out. This isn't my fault. But the next morning, she showed up again. This time, with her mom. Yep, Tanya brought her mother to our doorstep, like it was parent-teacher conference day at Betrayal High. Her mom, who, to be fair, has always treated me like her own son, looked embarrassed as hell. She stood there on my porch with a Tupperware container of lemon squares and said, "Let's all just talk, okay?" I stepped outside, closed the door behind me. Tanya had her arms folded and said, "You owe me a conversation." I said, "No, Tanya. I owed you love, loyalty, and the benefit of the doubt. And I gave you all three. You set fire to it and blamed me for handing you the matches." Her mom looked like she wanted to disappear. Then Tanya cried, full tears, and not the kind that make you feel empathy. The kind toddlers cry when they drop their ice cream. I messed up. I know I did. But it wasn't real. Evan just gave me something you stopped giving me. I asked her, was it before or after I paid for Evan's car repairs? Or before I got him that job interview? Was that what turned you on, watching me be a decent human while you plotted behind my back? Her mom finally interrupted. Maybe you both need space. Bless her. That woman knew. So they left. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I stood in my own house and felt clarity. I wasn't going to save this marriage. I didn't want it anymore. Because some betrayals don't just break your heart, they insult your soul. All right, so after the porch drama with Tanya and her lemon square-wielding mom, I thought the worst was behind me. Turns out, it wasn't. There was still one more gut punch waiting for me. Something I had missed in all the chaos. Remember the Airbnb confirmation I found on Tanya's burner phone? I thought it was just a place in Austin she booked for her little McConaughey cosplay getaway with Evan. But one night, while I was packing her things into boxes, yes, we got to that point, I had this nagging feeling. Something about that Airbnb listing was bugging me. I couldn't let it go. So I looked it up again. And that's when I saw it. Under the reviews section, clear as day, was a glowing comment from Tanya D., posted 3 weeks ago. Such a peaceful retreat. Private, romantic, and the outdoor tub was a dream. We'll definitely be coming back next month. Smiley face. We'll. Definitely. Coming back. It wasn't some future fantasy she'd written into the calendar. She and Evan had already been there. Already played house. Already soaked in the tub, probably whispering quotes from the Lincoln Lawyer while sipping organic Pinot Noir. That writing retreat wasn't planned. It was repeated. She lied to me when she got back, said her flight got delayed, said her phone died, said she got food poisoning. I remember her lying in bed groaning like her stomach was turning inside out, and I was bringing her soup. I brought her soup while she was recovering from a cheating hangover. That review was dated the exact weekend she'd told me she was reconnecting with her creativity. All this time, I thought I'd caught her before anything physical happened, that I'd intercepted the big weekend she was planning. Nope. I was just late to the party. They'd already danced, already drank, already slept in each other's arms in a cabin with a cowhide rug and vintage typewriter aesthetic. And I closed my laptop, stood up, and walked outside barefoot into the night. Just stood on the lawn like I needed air, like I was trying to get the smell of her lies out of my lungs. That was the moment I knew divorce was inevitable. Not out of rage, not out of revenge, but out of sheer self-respect. Because the moment someone pretends to be something else to cheat on you, and does it with a person you once called family, there's no coming back from that. Just when I thought I could finally start the detox process. Begin mentally clawing my way out of the garbage pit Tanya and Evan tossed me into. I get a text from him. Evan, the same cousin who pretended to be Matthew McConaughey while sneaking around with my wife. The same guy I used to play video games with, crash on the couch with during college breaks, help move furniture for after his ACL surgery. Hey man, I think we should talk. I owe you that much. I stared at that message for a solid 10 minutes. Not because I was considering it, but because I was trying to decide if it was even worth responding with the middle finger emoji. I left him on read. 2 days later, guess who shows up in my driveway? Yup, Evan, wearing his signature. I'm a good guy, really hoodie and a sheepish expression like we were about to have a bro-to-bro moment over beers. I opened the door, but didn't let him in. I don't think there's anything left to say, I said. He shoved his hands in his pockets like a nervous teenager. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. The classic cheater's anthem. Yeah? Did you trip and fall into her cabin in Austin? Onto the outdoor tub? Was that part of the accident? He winced. It wasn't like that. She came onto me. I thought you guys were, over. I laughed. Actually laughed. One of those wild, almost unhinged laughs that scare your dog. We were over? Funny, I don't remember signing the paperwork. Or being invited to the McConaughey LARPing session you two cooked up. Then he said this. I didn't even enjoy it, man. It was weird. She made me talk in that voice. She kept calling me Matt, and she cried halfway through it wasn't even hot. I blinked. Did you just come to my house to tell me that screwing my wife wasn't fun for you? Evan looked like a deflated balloon. I'm just saying, I don't think she was happy either. It's like she was trying to live in a movie. That actually hit me. Because for the first time, it didn't feel like just betrayal. It felt like I'd been cast as the background character in a fantasy where my wife was the lead actress and my cousin was the stand-in for a Hollywood heartthrob. I wasn't even in the story she was telling herself. You need to leave, Evan. But you need to leave. He walked off. Didn't argue. And for a brief moment, I almost felt sorry for him. But then I remembered the Airbnb review, the burner phone, the costume play, and yeah, the crying during sex part didn't make things better. I shut the door, locked it, and finally made the call I'd been putting off. I called a lawyer. Just when I thought I had turned the corner, when the lawyer had started drawing up the paperwork, and I had finally tossed her dream board in the trash. Yes, she had a dream board. And yes, Evan as McConaughey was front and center. Tanya pulled the oldest trick in the emotional manipulation handbook. She told me she was pregnant. It came via text. We need to talk. I'm late. I think I'm pregnant. No greeting. No apology. Just that little bomb. At first, I didn't respond. I just froze. My stomach dropped. Like the floor had disappeared under me. Because despite everything, despite the betrayal, the lies, the emotional ambush, a baby changes things. Or, that's what it's supposed to do, right? She followed it up with, I know the timing sucks, but this might be the universe giving us a second chance. I had to reread that twice. The universe? Lady, the only thing the universe was giving me was high blood pressure and trust issues. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Go get a paternity test. That was my first thought too. But here's the kicker. She refused. Said it was too early, and that even suggesting it meant I didn't trust her. No. Shit. I told her. Tanya, you've been sleeping with my cousin while pretending he's an Oscar-winning actor. Forgive me if I don't take your word for it. She spun it, of course. Said that kind of attitude was exactly why she felt lost in our marriage. That I always had to be logical and cold. Ma'am, I bought you a $500 KitchenAid mixer just because you said you wanted to make cinnamon rolls like your grandmother. I am many things. Cold is not one of them. But she doubled down. Started sending me links to baby cribs, prenatal vitamins, and some Pinterest nursery inspo folder. All while I hadn't even seen a positive test. Eventually, I told her straight. If you're pregnant, and it's mine, we'll handle it. But if this is some sick power play, I swear to God. She blocked me. Blocked me. After she dropped the pregnancy nuke. A week went by. Then two. No follow-up. No calls. No doctor appointment. Nothing. So I reached out to her mom. Her mom, God bless that poor woman, just sighed and said, she's not pregnant. She was trying to buy time. I stood in my driveway for a long time after that, just breathing, because I felt like if I walked back into the house right away, I'd break something. or cry, or both. That was the moment I realized I never really knew who I married. I knew the persona Tanya gave me, but the real her? The one capable of cheating, lying, gaslighting, and faking a pregnancy? I didn't know her at all. So after the fake pregnancy drama fizzled out, and yes, I still check my mirrors more than usual, because who knows what she'll try next. I finally sat down with my lawyer and signed the divorce papers. Let me tell you, there's something oddly anticlimactic about signing away your marriage. No dramatic music, no courtroom scene, just initials and signatures, over and over, until you're basically numb. Like you're signing for a UPS package filled with betrayal and unwashed lies. The weirdest part? It felt peaceful, like I had been holding my breath for months and finally exhaled. Until Tanya's sister called. Now, Tanya has an older sister, Marissa, total opposite of her. No filter, always blunt, drinks wine like it's water, and once got kicked out of a wedding for telling the groom's mom she looked like a wet owl. That kind of energy. She calls me out of nowhere and says, I know you think Tanya's rock-bottomed, but you don't even know the half of it. I'm thinking, oh great, what now? Did she sleep with someone else? Did Evan have a twin? Did she run off to audition for a Lifetime movie? But what Marissa said next. Tanya's been lying about more than just the McConaughey thing. She cheated before, on her girls' trip to Portland last year. I just sat there. I had suspected it. There was one weekend she came back from that trip with a weird energy, suddenly into poetry, talking about disconnecting from the ego and craving vegan sushi. I chalked it up to hipster travel vibes. But apparently, she met some tattooed poet guy who she spent 2 nights with in a hotel while her friends thought she was doing solo hiking. Marissa found out because Tanya drunkenly confessed it during a family wine night, but made her swear not to tell me. Said it was just sex and that I wouldn't understand. Marissa kept it in until now because, in her words, I figured you'd both work it out like always. But this McConaughey cosplay crap? Nah, you deserve the truth. I didn't even get mad. I just felt hollow, like someone turned off the volume inside my chest. I thanked her, hung up, and sat on my porch until it got dark. I looked at the sky, and for a brief second, I wondered if Matthew McConaughey ever had to deal with this kind of chaos in real life. Probably not. But hey, maybe in a twisted way, Tanya did get her fantasy. She was in a dramatic movie. Except in this one, she was the villain. And I was just the guy reading the credits, alone. So, I'm sitting on my couch, thinking I'm finally moving on. Lawyers got everything ready. The house is half-packed, and I'm sipping on what I think is a well-earned whiskey. Then, knock knock. At midnight. Guess who's standing on my porch? Tanya. Dressed like she just walked out of a rom-com montage, but with tired eyes that looked like she'd been crying or plotting. Not sure which. She asks if she can come in. I don't say no. Big mistake. She immediately launches into this emotional monologue about how lost she's been, how she never meant to hurt me, and how she was scared to be alone. Then she drops the bomb. I wanted to live Matthew McConaughey's life because I didn't know who I was without you. Cue the dramatic pause. Apparently, her whole cosplay thing wasn't just cheating, it was her way of coping. Living someone else's life to escape hers. Which sounds poetic until you remember it destroyed everything. She kept apologizing, crying, and asking if there was any chance we could find us again. I wanted to tell her to take her us and throw it into the trash where her lies belonged. Instead, I said something I didn't expect. I don't hate you, but I don't know if I can ever trust you again. That shut her up. We sat there, in silence, for what felt like hours. Just 2 broken people, one trying to rebuild and the other trying to find a way back. I still don't know what I want to do, but at least now, the fantasy is over. After that midnight porch scene, I knew I had a choice. Spiral into bitterness or try to reclaim my life. So, I chose the harder path, therapy. Yeah, I was skeptical at first. Thought maybe talking about feelings was for people with more free time and less testosterone. But man, it helped. Sitting with someone who didn't judge, just listened, made a huge difference. I started learning things about myself I never wanted to admit. Like how I'd ignored red flags because I was afraid of being alone. How I'd put her on a pedestal even when she was lying and manipulating. It hurt. A lot. But slowly, I rebuilt my self-respect. Took up hobbies I'd abandoned. Reconnected with friends I'd pushed away during the chaos. I even started running again. Not to escape, but to remind myself I'm still here, still strong. Tanya, we're officially divorced now. No messy court battles, just two people going separate ways. I'm not bitter anymore, just cautious. The weirdest part? I'm grateful. Not for what happened, obviously, but because it forced me to face myself, to grow. Here's the thing about betrayal, it isolates you. You expect your friends to pick sides, your family to weigh in, but sometimes the silence is deafening. That's why what happened next totally blew me away. One day, out of nowhere, I got a message from Tanya's mom. Yeah, her. The woman I'd been avoiding like the plague because, well, family drama. She said, I'm sorry things turned out this way. Tanya's actions broke us all. But I want you to know, you're not alone in this. I didn't know what to say, but she kept checking in, offering advice, even sending articles about healing after infidelity. It was weird, comfort from someone who's supposed to be the other side. Turns out, Tanya's family was as blindsided as I was. Her sister's confession, the fake pregnancy, it wasn't just my heartbreak, it was their family's unraveling too. Her mom became a quiet ally, reminding me to take care of myself and that forgiveness isn't about them, it's about me. That unexpected support helped me start trusting again. Not her, not Tanya, but the idea that not everyone will hurt you. After months of chaos, drama, and feeling like I was trapped in some bad movie plot, I finally reached a place I didn't think I'd get to, peace. Not the loud, I'm over you kind of peace, but the quiet, deep kind where you realize you're okay on your own. I started focusing on me, no distractions, no second-guessing, no toxic phone calls at midnight. I picked up old hobbies, like photography and hiking. I even signed up for a cooking class, because apparently, whiskey and instant noodles aren't a full diet. The weirdest part? I actually enjoyed being alone. Like, truly enjoying it. I stopped chasing someone else's version of happiness or pretending to be someone I wasn't. Looking at you, Matthew McConaughey cosplay. I learned to trust myself again, my decisions, my feelings, my worth. And slowly, new opportunities showed up. New friendships, new interests, and maybe, someday, someone new. But only if I want that, not because I'm afraid of being alone. So here I am, the end of this wild ride, and I want to share what I've learned, not just for me, but for anyone stuck in a relationship mess that feels like a bad Netflix drama. First, trust your gut. If things feel off, they probably are. Don't ignore those little alarms just because you want things to work. Second, don't lose yourself. Tanya's whole secret life of Matthew McConaughey act wasn't about me. It was about her running from herself. Don't let someone else's chaos steal your identity. Third, it's okay to walk away. Love isn't supposed to hurt like this. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is say, this isn't right for me. Lastly, healing takes time. There's no quick fix. There's no magic get-over-it pill. But bit by bit, you'll find your peace. If I could talk to past me, I'd say, you're stronger than you know. Don't settle for lies. And someday, this pain will make sense. So, to anyone reading this, drowning in betrayal or heartbreak, hang in there. Your story isn't over. The best chapters are still ahead. Stay strong, y'all.